Okay, picture this. The richest man on Earth calls up his ex-wife and invites her to his hotel room for the evening. She says yes, she gets there, and well, you know what he does? He sits her down and shows her rocket videos. For 2 straight hours. Seriously, that is not a joke. That's a real story from Tallulah Riley, one of Elon Musk's ex-wives. And honestly, it kind of tells you everything you need to know about the guy. Because Elon isn't just your standard tech billionaire. He's a man on a single, massive, borderline insane mission. And every company he's ever built, every dollar he's ever made, it literally all points to one specific destination: Mars.
Now here's something a lot of people totally miss. When you look at his whole portfolio, Tesla, Starlink, Neuralink, The Boring Company, XAI, it just looks chaotic, right? Like he woke up one morning and thought, hey, let's build a brain chip company today, or let's dig some tunnels. It seems completely random.
But if you look a little closer, none of this is random. Think about it. Tesla's self-driving cars and Optimus robots, well, they're absolutely perfect for a colony where you literally cannot afford human error. Starlink's satellite internet? That is exactly how a Mars colony is going to stay connected to Earth. The Boring Company? You're going to need underground tunnels to protect colonists from radiation. And Neuralink? Those human-machine interfaces are crucial for operating in extreme environments. He hasn't just been building random tech startups. He's actually been building a meticulously planned one-man supply chain for an entire planet.
So, okay, that's the what. But before we get into his actual step-by-step plan, we really need to talk about why he's doing this in the first place. And let me tell you, the answer is way darker than just, exploring space.
You've probably heard of the Fermi paradox, right? Elon brings it up all the time. But just a quick refresher. Our universe is 13.8 billion years old. We've got hundreds of billions of galaxies, and each of those has hundreds of billions of stars. Purely mathematically speaking, intelligent life should be absolutely everywhere.
So, where is everyone? That terrifying cosmic silence leads us to 2 possibilities, and spoiler alert, both of them are pretty scary. Possibility 1 is that we are the only intelligent life out there. We are completely alone. And if that's true, it means humanity is extraordinarily rare and extraordinarily fragile.
Then there's possibility 2. There were other civilizations out there, but some invisible barrier destroyed every single one of them before they could expand beyond their home planet. Scientists call this the Great Filter. It means one asteroid, one pandemic, or one nuclear war, and boom, the universe's only known intelligent species is just gone forever.
Which brings us to the really terrifying question. Is that filter behind us, or is it still waiting for us ahead? This right here, this existential dread, is exactly why Elon says over and over that humanity has to become a multiplanetary species. It's not for adventure, it's not for the fun of it. It's quite literally a life insurance policy for human consciousness itself.
All right, so if we have to move, why Mars specifically? Like, why not Venus or the Moon? Well, Venus has a surface temperature of 465 degrees Celsius. It literally rains sulfuric acid, and the atmospheric pressure would crush you like you're standing at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. So Venus is a very hard pass. Mars, on the other hand, gives us at least a sliver of hope. Its day is 24.6 hours, which is surprisingly close to ours. It has actual seasons, and there's frozen water locked right under the surface. Don't get me wrong, it is cold, airless, and completely brutal, but it is technically the least impossible option we've got.
But let's be super honest for a second about what brutal actually means in this context. Because living on Mars wouldn't just be, slightly uncomfortable. It would be a relentless, around-the-clock fight just to stay alive. Let's look at the 5 major challenges.
Challenge number 1. There is no air. Mars's atmosphere is so thin that if you stepped outside without a pressurized suit, you would suffocate in exactly 90 seconds. Plus, the air that is there is about 95% carbon dioxide. Breathable oxygen is basically non-existent.
Challenge 2 is the temperature. The average temp on Mars hovers around -80 degrees Fahrenheit. Just to put that into perspective, that is colder than Antarctica, which is already Earth's most hostile environment. And at night, it drops even further.
Then you've got challenge 3, radiation. Here on Earth, we've got this wonderful, invisible magnetic shield protecting us from solar and cosmic radiation. Mars has almost none of that. So prolonged exposure there literally destroys your DNA, causes cancer, and degrades your body at the cellular level. Oh, and challenge 4, low gravity. Mars has only 38% of Earth's gravity, which sounds kind of fun for doing backflips, right? But biologically, it is a nightmare. It causes massive bone density loss, muscle atrophy, and serious cardiovascular issues. Our bodies were just never designed to live like that.
And finally, Challenge 5, the dust storms. We are talking about planet-wide storms that can last for weeks, sometimes even months. They get so massive that they completely block out the sun across the entire globe, which cuts off your solar power, and they're incredibly hard to predict. So knowing all of this, how on Earth, or rather, how on Mars, does Elon actually plan to pull this off?
Well, his biggest asset is Starship. Standing at 123 meters tall, that's taller than a 40-story building, by the way, Starship is unequivocally the most powerful rocket ever built in human history. It's designed to haul over 150 metric tons of cargo in a single trip.
But here is the real game changer. Unlike every other rocket that came before it, Starship is fully reusable. And that is the fundamental breakthrough that makes this whole crazy mission economically possible. Historically, rockets were basically giant fireworks. You fire them off once and boom, millions of dollars just burn up in the atmosphere. Starship is designed to operate like a commercial airplane. You fly it, you land it, you refuel it, and you fly it right back out.
But the logistics are still mind-bending. Take the launch window, for example. Earth and Mars only align closely enough for a practical trip once every 26 months. If you miss that window, you're waiting over 2 years for the next one. The transit itself takes 7 to 9 grueling months in deep space. And remember, you aren't aiming at where Mars is. Orbital math means you have to shoot for where Mars will be when you finally arrive. And guys, that is literally just the commute. The timeline for actually making the planet habitable is going to stretch across generations. We're talking an estimated 100 to 200 years.
Which brings us to terraforming. This is the ultimate long game, turning a dead rock into a living, breathing world. The master plan happens in stages. First, you deploy massive orbital mirrors to concentrate sunlight and melt all that frozen CO2 and ice at the poles. Second, as temperatures start to rise, you slowly build up a planetary atmosphere. And third, you introduce specially engineered bacteria and plants to pump out oxygen, basically doing the job that trees do here on Earth. But, 100 to 200 years is a really long time to wait. And in one pretty famous interview, when someone asked Elon how we might warm up Mars a bit faster, he gave a genuinely startling answer. He just said, nuke the poles. Yep, he suggested dropping thermonuclear weapons over the planet's ice caps to rapidly release trapped greenhouse gases. And honestly, whether he was being deadly serious or just messing around with this kind of radical impatience, it is genuinely hard to tell.
So let's bring it all together, because here is the core truth of this whole explainer. Most people work to earn money. Elon earns money to do his work. Whether you see him as this incredible visionary, a comic book villain, or somewhere in between, you kind of have to admit that every Tesla sold, every Starlink dish installed, and every SpaceX launch is ultimately just funding this one monumental obsession. He's been quietly executing this puzzle piece by piece for over 2 decades.
So the question is no longer whether Elon Musk wants to colonize Mars. The man clearly has a plan, and he's building the tools to do it. The real question, the one that leaves us deeply contemplating the timeline of our own survival is, will any of us actually live to see it happen? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. If you found this dive into the source material as fascinating as I did, definitely make sure to follow the show because we are just getting started. I'll see you in the next one.